Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to tell you what movies I watched in the month of July. Let's get straight into it! Up first, I watched Napoleon Dynamite, and I'm going to be perfectly honest, on a rewatch, this hit a lot harder. I really liked it, and I thought it was a lot better on a rewatch. I'd give it a TCAS rating, and for those of you who are new to the channel, TCAS stands for Technique, Cinematography, Audio, and Story. It's basically the cinema score that I give to things, the cinematic excellence score. I'd give it a TCAS score of 4 out of 10. I'd give it an entertainment enjoyment rating of 9 out of 10, and that entertainment enjoyment rating is literally just, what did I think of it, did I enjoy it? Which would give it a final rating of 7 out of 10, and I would definitely rewatch this. I think this movie has a lot of rewatchability. Then I got my Marvel fix for the month until Fantastic Four with Iron Man 3. And this had some strong moments, but I do think it is one of the weaker early Marvel movies. And I would like to clarify, weaker does not mean bad. I still think this was good, but I did not personally love it quite as much as some people do. I'd give it a TCAS rating of 5 out of 10. I'd give it an entertainment enjoyment rating of 7 out of 10. And I'd give it a final rating of 7 out of 10. Then I watched the Royal Tenenbaums, and I did like this, I would like to clarify, but I do not like at all what happened to Buckley at the end of the movie. For those of you who don't know what Buckley is, or who Buckley is, I'm sorry, don't worry about it. It's perfectly fine. And that just left a sour taste in my mouth about this movie. Like, legitimately, that's the thing I remember most from this movie, which is, unfortunately, quite aggravating. I'd give it a TCAS rating, this film, a TCAS rating of 8 out of 10. I'd give this an entertainment enjoyment rating of 5 out of 10, and I'd give this an overall rating of 6.5 out of 10. Then I watched a movie I've been sleeping on for quite a while, Get Out, and this was really good. I do not think it's Jordan Peele's best film. I personally believe that goes to Nope, but this was very good. This was a very solid time. I quite enjoyed it. I'd give it a TCAS rating of 8 out of 10, and I'd give it an entertainment enjoyment rating also of 8 out of 10, giving this a final rating of 8 out of 10. Then I watched Pearl, and I watched Pearl because I'm trying to knock off as many A24 movies from my list as I can while I still have HBO Max, because I do plan on unsubscribing from HBO Max in a month or two. And so, to be perfectly honest, I didn't necessarily watch this because I wanted to. I watched this kind of sort of to tick off a box, which I've come to notice in the last month or two, I really shouldn't do, because I tend to enjoy things less when I'm trying to tick off a box. I benefit if I literally just want to watch that film. I typically enjoy the film a lot more, because I frankly didn't enjoy this that much. I would give it a TCAS rating of 7 out of 10, I'd give it an entertainment enjoyment rating of 4 out of 10, and I'd give it a final rating of 5 out of 10. Then I watched Jurassic World Rebirth, and I think in theaters, this is a good experience. It's not a bad experience. I don't think it's anything necessarily to write home about. It's very basic. Characters do, very stupid things. There's way too many characters for you to care about. But there are some really cool dinosaur moments, and there are some pretty cool kills in this. So I'd give it a TCAS rating of 4 out of 10. I'd give it an entertainment enjoyment rating of 7.5 out of 10, just because, frankly, I did enjoy it. And I'd give it a final rating of 6 out of 10. That's generous, because I got to see the Odyssey trailer before this. Then I watched the 2019 Addams Family, and looking back on this, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I think I was a little bit harsh on this movie, because I do remember it being very bad, like even for a kid's movie, which is saying a lot, because this is obviously targeted towards children. I am not the target demographic of this audience, but I liked the Addams Family IP, so I was like, I'll give this a try. Shouldn't have given it a try. It wasn't very good, but it was still serviceable. I would take more of this movie than I would take of Smurfs 2025, if that makes you feel any better, which it really shouldn't. Poor poor children nowadays having to grow up with this. I'd give it a TCAS rating of 3 out of 10, and I'd give it an entertainment enjoyment rating of 7 out of 10, giving this a final rating of 5 out of 10. But at least Bluey exists, so there's some balance in what kids have to watch nowadays. Then I watched Superman, and I enjoyed this. Now, I would like to clarify, I don't like Zack Snyder that much. I didn't like Man of Steel that much. I didn't think that Man of Steel represented Superman as a character very well. Make of that what you will. Going into this, I was expecting good things from this, and I was given good things from this. I enjoyed it. It was a fun time. I liked it. I especially love David Cornsweet as Superman. I think he absolutely did a fantastic job in the role. I wish that we had a little bit more dichotomy between Clark Kent and Superman. There's one scene early on that I personally at least think is like top 3 scenes in the movie. It's where Superman and Lois argue. Makes a lot of sense. Sets up stakes. Makes things interesting. Very, very great scene. Made me think of The Incredibles a lot, that scene in particular. But I would give this a TCAS rating of 8 out of 10. I think it is very well made. I would like to clarify, I do not think it is perfect, and I realize that it is not perfect. But I'd give this an entertainment enjoyment rating of 9.5 out of 10, giving this a final rating of 9 out of 10. Then I watched Napoleon, and I'm going to be perfectly honest, I don't care about the historical accuracy of a historical film like this, right? Obviously, some things are going to be embellished. Obviously, some things, are going to be stretched a bit because of the fact that we just simply couldn't log things and detail things quite as much as we could back then. I didn't like this very much. It was very, very slow burn, and to be perfectly honest, I feel like I did not learn anything. And I want a historical film to do one of two things for me personally. I either want to learn a little something from it, or I want to really dive into the psyche of a character. Case in point, Oppenheimer is kind of just lay out events, and don't get me wrong, great set design, great costuming, very, very cool, but I don't think that made up for the fact that I didn't really have a particular easy time following the story, and this was very long. This felt like a chore to sit through, so I would give it a TCAS rating of 7 out of 10. I would give it an entertainment enjoyment rating of 5 out of 10, and I give this a final rating of 5.5 out of 10. Then I rewatched Superman, and instead of telling you my thoughts on it, because my TCAS score and enjoyment score did go down slightly about this, I would instead like to tell you how I tried to get into this theater. My dad and I went to iCast this year. We were trying to catch the showtime of Superman before the new product showcase down at iCast. iCast is a fishing conference, by the way. I was doing film for Dad, and Dad was meeting people, interviewing people, and such. So, trying to get into this theater, we first went around to the front, only to realize that there is no parking around front. So, we went to the parking garage nearest to this. We parked in the parking garage. There was no way to pay when you leave. It was just a QR code thing. So, we thought that we were getting tacked for time there at the, we thought we were going to get billed or potentially get towed. So, and that's not the best part, we walk around literally 3/4 of the theater. Literally, my watch says that we walked a whole mile to get in the theater. In the rain, I would like to clarify. My socks were wet. I get in, I stinking look at the ticket price. It's $27 for an IMAX ticket. Now, I'm no expert, but $27 seems like an awful lot of money for a matinee-timed ticket. Anyways, we get in, we sit down, the movie starts. Dad is thinking about parking. So I say to Dad, hand me your phone, watch the movie, enjoy the movie, absorb the movie. I will handle the parking. I get the parking, thankfully paid. Turns out, because Dad scanned the QR code that the theater gives you, we got free parking for 24 hours. So that was very cool. So we did that. And then when we went to leave, we found out that there is literally a covered path leading from the parking garage. And because of the poor lack of signage, because of the awful lack of signage at Regal Point Cinemas in Orlando, Florida, we could have quite literally walked under a quarter of a mile, covered from the rain completely to get into the theater. And we would have had a perfectly fine time. But instead, we walked a mile in the rain all the way around the theater. I had to ask somebody working the valet, hey, where the heck is Regal Cinemas? And they said, it's the second floor up there. I've never felt like more of an idiot in my entire life. I'd give this a TCAS rating of 7.5 out of 10, because I do think it decreased a little bit on the second watching. I caught more mistakes, more discrepancies in the filmmaking, especially in the writing. And I would give this an entertainment enjoyment rating of 9 out of 10 on the secondary watch, giving this a final rating of 8.5 out of 10. $27 per ticket is wild. Then I watched the 2025 Fly Fishing Film Tour, and this wasn't even on Letterboxd to log, so what I literally just did is I found the most recent Fly Fishing Film Tour on Letterboxd, which is the 2014 one. I logged that, and then under my review, I put, like, detailed thoughts on each short film. So basically, again, this is something we saw while we were at iCast. It's basically 2 hours of short films that are specifically about fly fishing. And that sounds boring as heck, but it was really, really entertaining. Some of the short films were really, really well made. There was one short film that so deeply resembled the Wes Anderson style of filmmaking that I was like, this is a movie about fly fishing. Why are they making such funny jokes in this? It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. And if you want to check out more of my detailed thoughts, that's on my Letterboxd. You can go check that out. I'm not going to go over my individual thoughts for each short film from the film tour. Then I watched Opus, and this was bad. This was bad. I think I officially have this as my worst A24 movie now, just because it feels so incredibly derivative of other A24 films. It feels so derivative of Midsommar. It feels so derivative of really any cult mystery film. And also, there's no answers. Like, none of the questions you really have get answered. And there's a lot of scenes that just lead to nothing. That it's just, it builds on nothing. It does nothing with a lot of the scenes. And feels a little mean to crap on it, okay? It is a first-time filmmaker, and making a movie is hard. I acknowledge that. But it wasn't very good. I think it could have dealt with another script revision or two, maybe. Some of the performances felt stilted. I personally think Dave the Octopus had a better villain motivation than Moretti in this. And I think this is how Taylor Swift and her fans will be in 20 to 30 years. I'd give this a TCAS rating of 6 out of 10, an entertainment enjoyment rating of 3 out of 10, and a final rating of 4 out of 10. Then I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer in 2025, and admittedly, I went to watch this because I was bored, and that was my first mistake. I should have watched Dune Part 2 instead. This movie was really frustrating because it started off, the first 40 minutes were really compelling. I was really, really hooked on the story, no pun intended. And it started off so well that I was like, oh man, you know, the characters are a little stupid, but surely they won't get more stupid over the course of the movie, right? And then there's this one moment, about 2/3 into the movie, that is probably the dumbest, like, Patrick Star move I've ever seen in any movie ever, The Naked Gun included. It is so absurd how incredibly stupid and thoughtless and move the plot forward these characters are in the second half of this film. It's very bad. It ended up being very bad, and I ended up greatly not enjoying it. I give it a TCAS rating of 3 out of 10, an entertainment enjoyment rating of 3 out of 10, and a final rating also of 3 out of 10. And the annoying thing is, these scores would have probably been like 7s across the board. It probably would have been like TCAS 7, entertainment 7, if the characters retained their knowledge level and made smart decisions and weren't joking after someone incredibly close to them died in a terrible manner. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I don't have much to say about this. This is a classic that I've been sleeping on, and guess what? It was good. It was very good. Very enjoyable, good action movie. Didn't love it, didn't think it was perfect, but it was good. I give it a TCAS rating of 8 out of 10. I give it an entertainment enjoyment rating of 7 out of 10, and I give this a final rating of 7 out of 10. Then I watched The Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad, and I thought that this was good. This was some of the hardest I've laughed at a movie in quite a while. It was truly, truly hilarious, and I watched this in preparation for The Naked Gun, which is coming out in, well, I guess when you're seeing this now, it is out, but it was, at the time of this, coming out in about a week. I give it a TCAS of 4 out of 10, just because it's not particularly cinematically impressive, but I'd give it an entertainment enjoyment rating of 8.5 out of 10, giving this a final rating of 7.5 out of 10. Then I watched Dear Santa, and I want to spend as little time as I possibly can on this movie. Don't watch this. It's terrible. It's awful. It's legitimately the worst movie I've ever seen, and I kid you not, it is the first movie I gave half a star on Letterboxd, just because at no point, like, even movies that I really, really hated, like Terminator Dark Fate, like Y2K, even movies that admittedly, to me, sucked, like those, at least they have something redeemable about them. This had absolutely nothing redeemable about it. It was awful. It was a waste of time. It was a waste of money. It was I don't even want to call it waste of talent anymore, because Jack Black in this is absolutely atrocious. He's phoning it in the whole time. He's collecting a paycheck, which, to be fair, go off. I mean, I understand sometimes, but holy crud, this was bad. I didn't like it at all. This is terrible. Give it a TCAS of 1, give it an entertainment of 1, and I'd give it a final rating of 1. I was just mad after I watched this. Then I watched Fantastic Four First Steps, and if you want to check out my full thoughts on the movie, you can check that out right here. All I'm going to say right now, Galactus is a certified Aura Farmer, TCAS of 7, entertainment enjoyment of 9, and overall rating of 8 out of 10. Then I watched Nobody in preparation for Nobody 2 coming up in a couple weeks, and as fun as it is to watch some brainless action, I couldn't get over the feeling of, wow, this is just derivative the entire time while watching this. It's cool, like, it has some cool moments, it has some good moments, but it can't overshadow the fact that this is a fairly lackluster story, that it feels like they stretched out to be barely an hour and 30 minutes long, which this was, and that, I don't know, that was just almost a little annoying to me personally. I'd give it a this felt a lot like Love Hurts did. It felt better than that, to be honest, but this didn't feel particularly good. I would give it a TCAS rating of 5.5 out of 10. I'd give it an entertainment enjoyment rating of 6 out of 10 just because it was relatively entertaining. And I'd give it a final rating of 6 out of 10. Then I rewatched The Fantastic Four First Steps, and it was good again on a rewatch. I would like to clarify, probably not as good as the original time I watched it, but it was still fun. I'd give it a TCAS rating of 6.5 out of 10. I'd give it an entertainment enjoyment rating of 8 out of 10, and I'd give it a final rating of 7.5 out of 10. Then I rewatched Death of a Unicorn on HBO Max, and this is good. I would literally, I think, give it the exact same score that I gave it before. TCAS of 6 out of 10, entertainment enjoyment of 7.5 out of 10, and a final rating of 7 out of 10. This is good. It's funny still. It's a little bit more boring on a rewatch, but it is still a good time. And I wrapped up the month with The Naked Gun, the 2025 edition, and this was funny. I didn't expect to laugh this much. I didn't expect a 2025 movie to commit to the bit quite as hard as this movie did. and it was really enjoyable. I had a good time. I laughed a lot. I laughed more than Brennan. Brennan didn't really seem to care for this, but I laughed a lot. I'd give it a TCAS of 5 out of 10. I'd give it an entertainment enjoyment of 9 out of 10 just because it was so funny. And I'd give it a final rating of 7.5 out of 10. Anyways, that's what all I watched in the month of July. What did you watch? Let me know in the comment section down below. And thank you all so much for watching this video. If you want to check out what I watched last month, that video is right over here. And YouTube thinks that you will like this video right over here. Thank you all so much for watching. And if you'll excuse me, I have an important business meeting to attend to. I'll see y'all later.